Hi, I'm Kristina Lee. I'm a piano teacher and I have a confession. As a piano teacher, most of what I do is not teaching piano. The biggest part of what I do is teaching people how to practice piano. The truth is that many piano students waste a lot of time practicing piano. And it's not because they're unmotivated or lazy. It's simply that they have not been shown how to practice. So today I'm going to start talking about practice techniques. But before that, I'm going to talk about the practice mindset. You can't really apply practice techniques unless you have the right practice mindset. So stay with me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And please also check out my course, Simple and Beautiful Piano for Adult Beginners. The biggest mistake people make, and I'm sure you've heard it in other places, and I'm gonna say it again, because if you heard from me, and if you heard it from your piano teacher, and you've heard it from another person who's doing YouTube tutorial, it's important. The biggest mistake people make is that they just play from the beginning to end, over and over and over again, thinking that if you continue to do that, somehow you're going to make your piece better. But I'm going to say it again, as other people have said. If you just practice with same mistakes, you are rehearsing the mistakes. Here is the first thing you have to understand. Practicing is not the same as playing. When you're practicing, your mind is in the process of solving problems and asking, how can I make this better? How can I improve this? When you're playing, you're enjoying the experience of playing and enjoying the flow of music. Now, both are important. It's not like you're always practicing or you're always playing. Both are important. But if you're practicing, you have some very intentional things you're trying to get done during the time. It's a little bit like you can read a book and you can enjoy just the story, and you're reading for pleasure, which is important. But when you're reading a book and you're trying to study what's going on and learning the words or analyzing, that's really the mindset of practicing the piano. Let me reiterate. Playing is what you do to enjoy music, to flow, to express. Practicing is what you do to solve problems, build skills, and make progress. If you're going through the motions, repeating the same section again and again without really listening, you're probably just playing. But if you're stopping to notice, adjusting something, trying a different approach, that's practicing. And the difference isn't how long you're at the piano, it's how aware you are and what is your intention for that time. How do you turn your mind into a practice mindset rather than just playing mindset? Now, when you want answers in your life, the most important thing is asking the right questions. Some of you might know that I'm also a life coach, and the heart of coaching is at the questions that we ask. So I am going to give you a set of questions you can use for your practice. And I'm gonna go through that very quickly. And I also have made a freebie for you to download. It's just one page because I want you to print it out, have it next to your piano, and I want you to be able to just use it as your reflective questions when you practice. First, I advise you to think about what you want to accomplish during this time that you have. Look at the time you have. Do you have 15 minutes? Do you have 30 minutes? Do you have an hour? And ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to focus today? So that's a very good place to start. And then you might want to just play through the piece or exercise that you are working on. As you're playing, you should be observing yourself and be curious about what's going on. Now, this is a very hard thing to do, to be playing the piano, to be listening to what you're doing, and then it's almost like you have another brain looking at what you're doing and trying to assess it. So this is a complex thing. I'm not saying that this is easy, but you can do it because you're here right now. And if you're watching this video, I know that you are curious and you are motivated to improve. And because you have that, you can and you will. Some of the questions you can ask during observation and curiosity phase are things like, what's actually happening in this passage? What doesn't feel quite right? Am I rushing? Am I tensing up? How's my rhythm? Where are the places where I know that I'm dropping a beat or adding a beat? What happens if I slow this way down and go through it? When you have done the observation and ask these questions, the next phase is asking the questions that will address the problem you're trying to solve. Is this a fingering issue? Is this rhythm? Or is it just the plain fact that I don't know the notes? Or I know the note, but I don't know how to play them all together, so it's more of a coordination issue. Could I try this hand separate? My answer is almost always yes. If you're having a trouble on a spot and it continues to happen, you have to check your hands separate and it will reveal a lot of things. Now, if you're one of those people like, oh, I can play hands together but not hands separate, that's an illusion that you know this part really well. You actually don't. So yes, do hands separate and figure out, maybe it's just like one note. Sometimes it's just 2 or 3 notes or just one spot. And I see this in my students too. Like, I know that like if you can get that one spot right, the rest will go smoothly. It's a little bit like life, yeah? Sometimes it's just like that one thing and that unlocks the rest of it. So pay attention to that. It's worth your time to fix that one note. And as you're doing this, I also want you to pay attention to the things that are going well, bringing awareness to the things that you're doing well, the improvements you have made, and good on you for being here, making the effort. Maybe you're just having a really off day. Maybe you didn't feel like doing this, but you're doing it. And all those things are things that you should be aware of and be encouraged by. You need to encourage yourself. You can ask questions like, what sounds beautiful already? What small improvement did I notice today? What part am I proud of? What felt easier than the last time? As you're wrapping up, you can also set an intention for your next practice. What am I going to try next time? Like, what went well right now? And what do I want to try again? Or what didn't feel so good and you're going to do something differently next time? So I would go back to these reflective questions as well. Obviously, you don't have to ask all of them at every practice session. And that's why I'm just going to make one-page PDF download for you, and you can choose what feels right for you. You can be your own coach and you can direct your own process. I hope these questions will help you to shift your mindset from passively playing through your piece to actively being engaged and asking the right questions. Here is a final thing I want you to remember. This kind of intentional practice doesn't always give you results right away, but you have to trust the process. And this is where actually an expert is helpful in your life. And I'm going to be that expert in your process. And I know this because I have data. I've seen students of all ages and students who come with all different kinds of musical competency go through this kind of process. And you don't know that this is going to work until you've done it for some time. And sometimes you practice like this for 2 or 3 days, you feel like you're getting worse. Like, oh, I was able to play like the whole thing, but I can't anymore. That's also part of getting better, especially if you had poor practice habits. So you got to trust the process. I know this works. Stop wasting your time playing through the whole piece again and again and again. Please, I want you to practice with good intention, ask good questions, problem solve, marvel in the beauty and the balance that you're bringing to your music and to this world, right? We're going to change the world one piece of music at a time. We're going to change the world one practice at a time. I was given this book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. I just got this and I haven't even started it. Actually, this was a gift from my high school piano teacher who is now a great friend of mine. And the very beginning of the book says, the object isn't to make art. It's to be in that wonderful state which makes art inevitable. This is a quote from Robert Henry. And, you know, that's what happens when you buy into this idea, when you change and shift your mind to be part of something beyond our tangible life. We are in the pursuit of beauty and balance and justice, all of these things through music and happiness. And as you practice piano, I want you to play well, but I also want your music to be memorable and impactful for you and for those around you. And that does not happen without an intentionality, a deliberate way of life. Thank you for watching.